All right, back on the podcast is Jannik Ehret. We're going to be talking about Tendon, but we talked a couple years ago about your film Her Sweater, which people can see on wildsound.ca. Really, I really like that movie a lot. It was really sweet. This one, this Tendon is a very different tone from Her Sweater, I guess, right?
Definitely, yeah.
So it's kind of like obviously it's like sci-fi horror, and not the other one was more drama, kind of come romance, obviously coming of age of young people. This one's got a different. This is a genre film. So what kind of? I'm just curious. What was your motivation to make this type of like the sci-fi type of film?
Well, if I had unlimited resources, I would just be making sci-fi movies
Okay,
or sci-fi horror movies all the time. But they're the most expensive movies to make. So
that's
this
your
was kind of
thing
my
then.
first,
Okay,
yeah, this was
yeah.
kind of my first attempt at seeing what I could make if I put some money behind it. The first movie was th- very cheap and just kind of what can I do with no money? And then this one was kind of my first try at getting some production value into the movie.
Okay, so you ever seen the famous Twilight Zone episode with William Shatner, where there's like a alien on the he's in an airplane and there's an alien on like
Oh
outside.
yeah,
Yeah, it reminded me of
yeah,
like that's sort of like the setup of like this the character is like trying is convinced of something and he's trying to convince his sister and his brother-in-law something, but then they don't believe him because of his past, I guess, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun to have
And,
like the most
and who's
unbelievable person,
Yeah, exactly. And who's
yeah,
like,
see
what
something,
reality
yeah.
are we in? Is he telling the truth? And sort of like, do we believe him or do we believe like the sister or do we believe something in the middle, I guess?
Yeah, yeah. That's a I know what you're talking about. That's a
Yeah.
cool scene.
No, but you know what I mean, right? So it's like that's sort of what we're seeing. Like we're emotionally engaged in the film right away. Right away, he knocks on the door and we're like we're into these characters, I guess. Even it is a genre film, but we're into like this is a kind of a character study as well, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
To go back to Her Sweater, which is a character study. So you're doing a genre film, but you're still about the characters, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it that way. I guess I only really know how to do character
Yeah.
study type movies. Um, yeah, that's just kind of what how I learned in I went to the University of Oregon and there was like some film programs and that's just kind of how I learned to tell stories and make movies. I was with the character, starting with the character. So I guess that's just kind of my approach to things.
Cool. So then tell me about this idea. Where would this idea spawn from for you?
So I grew up in Germany, moved here when I was 11, and the first time I heard about LA was through this video game. I think it might have actually been Grand Theft Auto or something more obscure. But the LA River, to somebody who has never been to LA, looks like something that shouldn't be there or some invention of a game designer. And
Yeah.
I just thought it was this really crazy, weird thing. And then when I first saw it for the first time in person in LA, many years later, 10 years later, I was just fascinated by it. And I would run up and down the bike path next to it and see these tunnels and it just kind of made sense to make a movie about my fascination with this strange piece of civil engineering and combine that with my love for sci-fi and horror.
Gotcha. And so Chinatown was about water. Your film's about LA water as well, right? There's
Yeah.
yeah. If you go back, I'm going back like to like film like I don't know if you've seen them film Chinatown, but it's all about
Oh,
the
Chinatown. Oh, yeah, yeah, Chinatown. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just an
yeah.
LA. I guess if you think
Yeah.
about it long enough, eventually an LA story just becomes about the lack of water, I suppose.
Yeah, but it's a manufactured city, right? Like it's a they most cities are like built by something that like usually it's by water, but it's about like ships are coming in from the ocean or from the rivers or from the lakes, and it's like we're gonna build a community from that. For LA is kind of just all kind of man-made through the film industry in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to Las Vegas, which I also think is a fascinating city. It's
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
like a sci-fi concept in itself. Like, why is the city
100%.
here?
Yeah. Because it's not it
Yeah.
doesn't have like a history to it. It's all like it's like from the last
Yeah.
it's all manufactured, right? So yeah.
Yeah, every city in Europe is on a river, you know.
Exactly. Well, every
But
city, if
LA
you
is
think
just
about it,
right in
every
the middle.
big city in the world is off of an ocean or
Yeah.
a river, right? So yeah. So
Yeah.
it's so these are like kind of, but it's all about capitalism, right? Like that's sort of how it was invented, right? So of course they're gonna have
Yeah.
water problems because the city doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and with that kind of comes the conspiracy part, which is also part of the movie.
Yeah.
That the city knows something that we don't, and the city's against the people. Yeah. Like, it's just
And
kind of
it's
things. Yeah.
you obviously made the film before, I'm assuming before the fires, before like the riots or the
Yeah.
protesting, but it's been a pretty busy city in the last year.
Yeah. I mean, I made it after the first round of
Yeah.
protests, so
Okay.
it made it between two sections of protests, I
Okay.
guess. But yeah, there's, and maybe I think what fed into me wanting to make it was probably also all the stuff with homelessness that sparked up after the COVID stuff, and just seeing that in my backyard, and kind of what some I wanted to express like some sort of discontent about these homeless people, and yeah, I think that kind of fed into it as well.
An addiction, right? Like trying to recover from addiction and like this character. A
Yeah.
great performance by the your star because he looks like he's like he's trying to stay sober. I guess it's like he's like I was gonna say remission, but that's not the best word. It's like he's like toxic. He's like wanting to fix, but he won't do it. I guess, right?
Yeah. He's like pretty much sober, but then kind of relapses in the movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Harrison is his name, and he had actually never acted in anything before. So um, yeah, I thought he did a really great job. I was very impressed by him.
Where did you find him?
He's my roommate's brother, and my roommate is kind of my creative partner in a lot of my movie projects. So he's always been around. He's always been kind of a wild character. He's a musician. So, it didn't take much to get the wild side out of him. It was essentially just like be the wildest version of yourself, not it's all about the casting, you could say, as they say, I suppose.
But isn't that's like that for me that's a huge risk, like because he's like in every scene. He makes your
Yeah.
film, right? And him never acting before, that's kind of it's a gutsy decision on your part.
Yeah. I was nervous about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what helped was having somebody the character that does a lot of the emotional lifting is the sister character, and they were very Lauren had a very strong acting foundation, so I had that helped a lot, kind of getting it started. But then right away, Harrison kind of found his stride, and I mean, we did some rehearsals and stuff, so it wasn't like I was just going in completely blind. But yeah, it did feel like a little bit of a risk since he doesn't have that much experience.
So it's an interesting film in terms of the lighting and the style. I want to talk about your relationship with the cinematographer. Is it Tomer? Tomer.
Tomer, yeah,
Yeah. So almost all dark scenes, right? Which is another dangerous thing to do, right? And it's all kind of handheld camera, right? So you're like it's like I don't think you have one non-handheld shot in the film, and like all dark.
yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about like kind of preparing that kind of like this kind of style in the film with them. Did you like storyboard things? Like how did you guys prepare the shot?
Yeah, I extensively storyboarded everything with him, and we made a pretty solid plan that we pretty much stuck to for most of it. The idea was kind of the main cinematography dynamic movement idea was kind of anytime he sees something that's not real or could be the audience might perceive as not real, it's very steady and it's on sticks, which is very few times. It's when he's in the tunnel and he sees the tendon for the first time. It's when he's in the sewer at the very end. That's when it's steady. And then everything else, more movement, so it feels a little bit more like a documentary. That
Yeah,
was kind of the idea.
especially the beginning of the
Not sure if that
film.
translated.
Yeah, yeah, 100
Yeah.
like especially the beginning where it's everything's like chaotic, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything's kind of from his point of view. We're seeing the film from kind of what he sees, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the fun of having like an unreliable narrator and then attaching the entire story to that narrator. I feel like if you take it away from that, then you would kind of break that like trance that you have with this
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
And then that would undermine kind of the whole idea.
So yeah, it's a nice direction. So but you have like a production design background, right?
That's what I'm doing for money right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love the art department. And that is kind of how I make most of my money. Yeah. So the set, which we built in our garage, I got through some connections, some pieces from that through some other jobs and connections that I have through doing production design. The tunnel we actually found in its entirety at a recycled place in town, and it's a nine foot piece. And I happen to have a big cube truck for another job, and found it by chance and trucked it to my garage and kind of used that as like a pressure device to be like, okay, my roommates are going to be pissed if this giant pipe is in my garage for too long because no one can park in the garage. So it's time to put together the pieces to make this movie so
that's
that I
amazing.
can not get evicted by my roommates. They wouldn't do that, but you get the idea.
So, but well, are they all in the film industry?
One of them is works on a lot of movies with me, so you know
Okay, so
he
they
got it.
understand, I
He was
guess,
part of it.
right?
He helped build it, and yeah, and the other one is very supportive of me too. But I still felt that pressure of like I also didn't want to have this giant set in my garage forever. So
Yeah,
sometimes, I feel like you need to put something in your way that you need to get rid of um, by making the movie, so to speak.
yeah. No, that
Or at least
makes
I need that often. Yeah.
that's very that's we all have different ways to be motivated, and having a big
Yeah.
giant thing in your garage that you need to move is a good motivating factor. I get what you mean, right? Where it's like it's sort of
Yeah.
like it jump starts you from getting it done, I guess.
Yeah. Exactly.
So then you talk about the conspiracy, like there's the conspiracy where like he obviously sees something where it's sort of like the background is that he's doing like a community service, I guess, right? And
Hmm.
he's seeing
Yeah.
different things and at his job, right? Which kind of like it's also what we're into these days as well, right? Like kind of like that and you just kind of root for this character. You kind of want him to be get well, I guess, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I, I'm assuming you've been asked this before, but is there a bigger story here? Is it like a feature film version of this story?
Um, there is. It took me a really long time to like settle this story into something that was short and that I liked. So there's like a ton of different material in the background of this that is just kind of implied loosely. So there is a big world, and that is kind of my favorite part of stories and sci-fi and everything is the world building. So there's definitely enough to make a long story, and there is an outline for a full length story. Um, so yeah, the short answer is yeah, there is a longer version.
And so then what's like so then like is that something you obviously want to direct yourself and make yourself?
Yeah. I think I have some other projects in the roster before that. Because like I said, doing sci-fi is very expensive, and if I really want to make this the way I would want to make it, I think it would require something that is not that might be further down in my career down the line. But yeah, one day it would be pretty cool to get to make the full version. I love the tone that I was able to get. It's like when you direct something, there's only probably like I don't know, like 15% of the things that you wanted to do, you actually got done, or like they
Yeah.
actually looked, you were able to translate the way you wanted to. And for me, just the tone, I feel like I kind of got the what I wanted
That's
there.
what it's all about though. It is
Um,
about the tone.
yeah.
And okay, so the scene where like he goes down the tunnel near the end and you have the outside shot in the daytime. So that's not the real tunnel. You build that tunnel and from the scene.
Yeah, so the silhouetted shot where he's at the entrance of the tunnel with the
Yeah.
water in it, that's an actual location, and everything beyond that is in my garage. Yeah,
It's a great
and we like
transition.
added water
It
sounds.
really works. I wouldn't have thought that like and I see a lot of films, right?
Yeah,
I thought it was fantastic transition. Like it really works.
thank you.
Yeah. So then, are you like a set decorator? You work as a set decorator, like you said, for your money jobs?
Production designer, yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes also
I thought you
decorator,
maybe worked on a
construction.
crew or something like that, or like, but you are a production designer.
I mean, it depends on the project. You know,
Yeah.
I'm pretty early in my career, so I'm doing a history. I'm doing production designer on a history channel show right now, but it's like a smaller budget thing. And then or the other week, I was on a feature length, and I was just doing construction there. So
Yeah,
kind of
gotcha.
starting my career there. Yeah, yeah,
That's really cool. Yeah. Well, that's a great job to have. So as you
it's
make
a lot of fun.
and a lot of great film directors come from that world, right? Of production design. So
Yeah, James Cameron, Ari Aster, I think. Yeah, yeah,
so yeah, and it's like it's one of those things where like you ask like the average person, they don't know what it is, right?
yeah. I was just thinking about that. Whoever, people are like, oh, George Lucas made the lightsaber from a piece from a camera flash module.
Yeah.
Like, no, that was not him. You know, or maybe it was that isolated incident, but you get the idea.
No, no, yeah, 100%. It's like everybody knows what a camera person is. Everybody knows what an editor is,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
yeah. And I remember I used
yeah.
to like work on like a lot of independent films and used to do a call out. Used to get lots of cinematographers, but you would get like it would be hard to get a really good production designer. Maybe that's changed. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
Because
mean,
maybe
yeah. I
not.
mean, I guess, yeah. I'm not sure. It's in LA. Everything is so the industry's struggling, so it's kind of hard to get a read on what there's a lot of and what there isn't right now. But
Exactly. Yeah.
the,
So well, it's good that
I guess that
you're
would be a
able to
good
do
thing for
that.
me.
It's good that you're able to do
Yeah,
that for your day job. You're relatively young, so and
yeah. Blessed.
so basically, so is there any like special effects that you use in post-production in the film, or is it all
No, my good friend Sophie Green made the Tendon all practical out of like a silicone. She did like a clay. She did a clay version which she sculpted and then poured silicone around it to create the shape and everything and the lights inside of it were all practical. I don't think we did any at all, any sort of anything. I don't know. I'm not very good with that kind of stuff, so I was like, we'll do practical.
gotcha? Well, yeah, because it, like you said, like it, yeah, it's fantastic. In terms of like the lighting, I know you saw like playback when you were on set, but were you worried about all, like when you were like putting the film together, that it was all gonna flow together, like the darkness of most of the shots?
In my experience, darker is usually better than lighter,
Okay,
because you can just highlight the focal point and make that well lit, and then you can make the background kind of
like
go
color
away.
correction, yeah.
Yeah, and so usually darkness kind of favors low budget, I think. So I was actually I felt like it was actually kind of easier the fact that it was a quite dark movie.
And you had an editor, right? Caitlin, is it Caitlin, right? You worked with her.
Yeah, yeah, which was great. Yeah, I usually stubbornly edit everything myself, but she was really great, and I didn't even I thought the movie was pretty all over the place and hard to interpret, but I just sent her the footage to get a first draft out without really telling her much, and she just instantly sent back in 3 days or like a week. She just sent back a cut that was pretty much the entire story. It's like, wow, I should do an editor more.
So what convinced you to do it this time?
Um, well, this entire project was kind of me wanting to commit money for the first time ever into a project and production value and also having every everybody be able to um, have their own role versus me wearing many hats.
Mhm.
Um, and that included just me not editing it. I really wanted to try to just do the directing part.
Yeah.
Even the writing part, I kind of had input from other people. I really wanted to try not being a one-man army. I think I usually get in my own way when I do that. So,
Yeah. Well, collaborative, it's a collaborative medium, right? So as you probably see every day when you're working.
yeah.
But at the same time, that could be good and could be very good, which it seems like in this film, but it could be not so good. It's all about the hiring, I guess, the right people.
Yeah. Yeah. But and one way also, it allows people to feel more invested, if they have
Sure.
full command of their department. Somebody might be able to help out, be more willing to do something for free or for a low rate, for a friend rate, if they can really flex their muscle in their department.
That's exactly it, right? So you all, yeah, they want everybody want. I always believe that you don't want someone to come on your film who thinks they're doing you a favor. You all want to be like part of the, and forget throw
Yeah,
money out of the way, right? Like you want to basically all be have some sort of emotional investment to the film.
right. And that's usually how I've kind of approach. I mean, obviously, I want everybody to get paid, but it's not always possible. So if it's
Mm.
somebody that's really not going to get something for their resume or reel or whatever out of it, then that's kind of the person that I kind of would try to make it worth it for them with
Yeah,
by giving them some money or something. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So tell me about the sound design. It's a great sound design. Who did that?
The Sharif, the sound mixer and sound designer, did both of those, and yeah, I've also never really had somebody who was like as professional and great as he was. I mean, Um, and her sweater, also great sound guy, but I didn't have anybody doing post sound. And that movie, and that one particularly, I felt like it kind of suffered from not having somebody
Mm.
look at the sound afterwards. And that's also something I'm really bad at. So I also wanted to just try out what could I make if I actually invest time and energy into that part of it. And yeah, I think he had a lot of fun. He was like, I've never done a sci-fi, and I pretty much just was like, yeah, just play with some animal sounds. He's kind of the direction, and ended up sitting a lot with him and playing around with stuff, and it was quite fun. Yeah, I usually don't like doing sound stuff, but with him there, it was pretty fun.
Well, especially for this project, right? Because you can really kind of play with it a lot, right? So, and it's really
Yeah, it
needed.
was,
Like you need a good sound
yeah,
design for this film.
that's true. You couldn't really get away with it like the other one without, yeah,
Yeah,
it just wouldn't have worked very well. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a really great film. It's like, and you see it, you kind of want more. And I think that's sort of the purpose, right? At the end,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's a good reaction to have.
yeah,
I'll take that.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
hope it's doing well for yourself. I hope it's doing well. Like it's a really nicely put together film. You got some game.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So what are you doing next? What's next for you?
Um, I kind of have a couple projects floating. We already made a documentary about a climber, and we're trying to fundraise for the feature version of that. Um, so working on that, and then also have probably the next thing will be the next narrative thing for me is going to be a surreal short film about a cow who has a hand grow out its side that starts writing essays.
Is it a
It's
comedy?
it has a lot of comedic elements, but I
Yeah,
think at its core it's a drama. It's the cow ends up kind of getting used by this little girl to
yeah,
address issues she has in her family and blaming things that she's writing on the hand. And it's kind of unclear if the hand can actually write or if it's just a freak genetic thing.
yeah. The cows always get abused, right? We take all their milk. They're
Yeah.
always getting abused.
I've worked on a cow abuse film before called
You might,
First Cow, which, yeah,
is that
the
how you
cow
got the
also got
idea,
abused there.
or when you're working on that film?
I named the cow after it,
Okay.
I
So
guess.
there must have
So
been an
in some
influence,
way,
right?
there must have been something, yeah.
Because my first thought was that if the cow can write, it must be like trashing us humans, saying how pieces of trash we are.
Yeah, I
But
mean it does trash the farm the owner, its owner,
yeah,
the dad. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's
before
a weird
I
yeah,
was
go
gonna
ahead.
say, I was gonna say before we leave you, we asked you in the blog interview what film you watched the most times in your life. Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, probably Love Actually,
Yeah.
which was my family's Christmas movie for a really long time. So we'd watch it once a year and
In Germany,
people
right?
hate it on it. This was already after Germany. In Germany, I watched almost no movies at all, or very
Okay.
little. Uh, just kind of a Lego kid. But yeah, Love Actually, I think. I stand by it. I think it's a good movie. A lot of people think it's corny.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. Yeah.
But it's a film that has like so how many different um plots are there? How many different storylines are there? Like seven or
I think it's
eight?
like yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And it kind
Yeah.
of that's tough to do, right? Like been done before, but not in that kind of comedic style. It's
Yeah.
really yeah,
And
that's tough
every
to
movie
do.
in that every scene in that movie is tight, you know, there's no
Yeah.
like boring movie like this all from almost the entire thing is memorable. So
Yeah,
it's
but
not
if you
my favorite movie, but I think it's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you break down some of the scenes, it's like there's a like the kid, his mom just died. He seems to be like regressing his like his emotions to something else, and then the other guy's stalking his best friend's girlfriend, which is a little sketchy, right? And then you got the old
Yeah.
guy obsessed with the secretary. Like, there's some weird, and then it's like the Hugh Grant as the prime minister. That's a little bit. He's the superior guy. Like I like there. I'm saying if you break it all down, it's all like there's all kind of like red flags in every relationship. It seems like, but it
Yeah,
works if
yeah.
you
I
put it
mean,
all
there's
together. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I get, the when he does the cards and stuff and he's like
yeah,
everyone I think now is like that is just a horrible thing to do. Like why would he put that poor woman through that? Why would she kiss him? Like red flag, red flag, red flag.
yeah,
Which I
yeah.
think they were trying to have it be more sweet, but anyway, yeah, I mean that makes it interesting, everybody's
It
kind
is
of
sweet though. But
getting
I'm
themselves in
saying that
trouble.
like yeah, it is sweet. But if
Yeah.
you break it, like if you take it out, start breaking it down, it's like okay. But that's like good filmmaking, I guess, right? So
Love a good flawed character, yeah.
yeah. And then the guy who goes to America, and of course he gets the hot girls, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Forgot about that one.
Was that your experience moving from Germany to the States?
Um, I guess. Yeah, I was 11, so I don't think I was really
You know what
uh
your answer is supposed to be there's hot girls in Germany. I didn't have to go anywhere.
oh yeah. My girlfriend's hot. She's American.
Okay.
There you go.
All
In
right,
case
man.
she
Well,
watches this.
I think this is a great film. We're proud to show it. I can't wait to see what you do next. It seems like you got some cool things happening. Moving to a documentary, kind of moving all the genres. And yeah, you're doing, I'm assuming you'll learn more and more doing production design, and you're on your way to make it a feature soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'm assuming that's the plan, right?
Making Tendon into a feature,
Yeah.
you
No, it's
mean?
making a feature eventually.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'm writing a couple and you know, absolutely. That is always the goal.
Cool. All right, let's talk again soon then when you make your next film.
Yeah, I like this. Thank you.